Hello, everybody, and welcome to the PHLY Eagles post-game show presented by our friends at Bet365, where it's never ordinary, whatever the moment. Check it out at Bet365 and use code PHLY365 to sign up. We are here to talk about an Eagles win. Fantastic. 20-16 against the Cleveland Browns. A little bit uneven, a little bit imperfect, but a win is a win. I am Bo Wulf. We're joined by Vinny Curry, Jamie Lynch, Fran Duffy. We're going to hear from Nick Sirianni's post-game press conference from The Link. We're going to hear from Zack Berman from The Link. We're going to hear from you in the chat. Tell us how you feel about this win. Let's start with you, Vinny. Do you feel good about this game, or do you feel like there's still a little bit too much to work on, considering the fact that it's week 6 and we just came off of a bye?
I'm gonna go in a positive direction. I feel great. I feel good about the win. But I do feel like that, there's some things that need to work on. But when you have 11-6 out there on the field, it just shows you how much the game could change. You could just tell by when AJ hit the end zone, the smile on Jalen's face was unbelievable.
You said it looked to you like Jalen was playing with a little bit more joy today.
Yes.
Probably in large part because he had those guys back.
Yes. And then on the defensively, I felt like you felt the defense do the screen. They play hard. Do you guys agree?
Yeah. Defensively, I think they showed up, and did what they were supposed to.
Coming to this game, the worst offense in football.
Yeah, and that's why they showed. You have to show up against Deshaun Watson. He's terrible. I'll be honest, a win is a win, and that's great and all. And people in the chat may say I have like a Sirianni obsession right now. Ending the game yelling at the fans.
I think we do have to have a long Sirianni conversation at some point during the show.
Feels like a weird win.
The shaved head.
Very weird win.
He's getting into it on the second possession of the game with 2 Browns cornerbacks. We will get to that.
Yeah.
I think there's plenty to talk about there. For you, Fran, this offensive performance, I mean, you have the 45-yard touchdown to DeVonta Smith on that mesh play that all of a sudden is working again. You have the game-winning play at the end there. You dial up a deep shot, a contested play where A.J. Brown comes down with it for 40 yards, where if it's an incompletion, the Browns are probably getting the ball back. Sort of the testament of this team maybe goes as those 2 star receivers go.
Yeah, I was thinking about it
a little bit easier.
Yeah, to me, I was thinking about it just now as we were getting ready to go on. No matter how you felt about the Eagles' offense coming into this game, I feel exactly the same. Right? It's star-driven. It's A.J. Brown, DeVonta Smith, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley. They couldn't get the run game going today, and that has been really the easy button for them offensively. Was Saquon Barkley in the run game? They couldn't get that going. So really, the offense was vertical shots outside the numbers, the tush push, and a couple mesh plays.
Right.
That was the offense today. And so it's going to be there's going to be highs and lows.
And if AJ Brown is replaced by like the 15th best receiver in football instead of one of the top 5, top 3, they probably lose this game.
We wouldn't even be talking about you. And then you go back to the beginning of the show when you say, Vinny, how you feel? I think I probably would have smacked the mic, but. That goes to show you how special that guy is.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how much he lifts the team, and also how uninspiring that makes it feel for the rest of the team. Like we talked about it. Is it going to be just as simple as the offense is fixed because A.J. Brown is back? It didn't look like they did much on offense other than just put A.J. Brown back in the game.
No, because, look, what we saw on the last drive.
What did they do during the bye?
Yeah, the last drive, he makes that catch. Great catch. Awesome. We're going to talk about the highlights on Twitter. Like, that's great. But opening drive, they ran. There was the same throw, and it falls incomplete. You're not going to win on all those. Those are not high chance of success type of plays, and so there's going to be boom or bust there. And it's just that's a tough way to live. He started 0 for 5, Jalen Hurts, right in this game.
Yeah.
And how many of them were vertical throws outside the numbers? Like that's fun, but that's not a good way to live. That's a tough way to live as a quarterback.
Is the game ceiling drive the time and place to pull that play out there?
It's a risky play.
I mean, you're giving the Browns a free timeout, like at worst or at best. At worst, there's an interception or like the game was far from secured, and we're airing it down the field. I don't know. It was weird, man. It was a weird win.
If we want to spin this positively, Jamie, is AJ Brown the best receiver you've ever seen the Eagles have?
Yes. I mean, TO, but it was such a small sample size. There's been nobody close. I mean, this guy's a freak. Even that touchdown pass, like to hold on to that one hand as the guy's pulling on it with two, falling backward, like he's the best Eagles receiver I've ever seen. He's a freak.
He's unbelievable.
He really is.
And he finishes this game with 6 catches for 116 yards and a touchdown. Both of us hit those pregame bets on Bet365. Very nice. And continue to let us know what you guys think in the chat. Vinny, you have been sort of talking about throughout this season, you're starting to understand what life is like for the Eagles fan as opposed to like the way you watch a game as opposed to being a player.
The first 2 drives had me like, what's going on? But then A.J. Brown scores.
Right.
And then now you're like this again. And then they start going a little run. And then it's a blocked field goal. Now you're back down here. I'm like, oh my God. So I had to ask you guys, is this how you felt? Right. we were playing like this is going to cause our fan base to have high blood pressure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And this game is the perfect example of it because if you're playing in this game, listen, we know it's very difficult to win in the NFL, right? No matter who's coming in, any given Sunday, all that stuff. Right. You come out, you win 20-16, you get to go to 3-2, you're feeling pretty good. If you're a fan watching this game, I mean, the Eagles were favored by 9 points. They win by 4. It's sort of a coin flip game. Like you don't feel as good as you would if you were on the field, pouring your blood, sweat, and tears.
And if if the audience caught our podcast on Tuesday, we talked about it's going to need the offensive line to dominate. Now, did I see domination? No, I don't think I did.
And you also talked about Jim Schwartz, so good at stopping the run. Saquon Barkley in this game, 18 carries for 47 yards. That's 2.6 yards per clip.
And you knew that Jim was going to emphasize that because that's just who he is. And we know how bad he wanted to beat the Eagles. So I just, just to stop my boy Saquon, that's what I'm upset about today. So.
Yeah, Fran was calling it out from the jump. Like the offensive line just getting no push out there today. And you could see it. I said at halftime with Bo, I was like, this is the most human we've seen Saquon Barkley to date. Yeah. So kudos to Jim Schwartz there.
Why don't we check in with the link right now because there's a quick press conference being done by Brandon Graham, who played in his 200th game as an Eagle, the very first player in franchise history to do that.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? It's cool that they still believe in me at this point because being a vet, 15 years, usually you come in, I was calling myself the knockout punch at the end. It's like you sitting around waiting, you encouraging, but you ain't playing too much, but then you come in when you need it and, you're going to make a play. But I was just happy to be of service to the team and help during a key moment of the game and, just doing my job. That's really all it is doing your job.
On a day like this, when defense is playing well, the scoreboard wasn't sort of matching some of the stats on the board. What was sort of your role as leadership to keep the defense kind of on the same page together?
Well, I just tell them, don't get bored with, kicking butt. I say that, that's what, at PG. But at the end of the day, don't get bored with it. And that's what I told them. I'm just like, this league is funny like that. As soon as you start believing in whatever's going on, and then you start taking the play up, not even taking the play off, but when you start letting your guard down a little bit because you feel like they gonna quit this league, you got to play to the end. As you can see, we was in the fight at towards the the first half, they blocked that kick. It was 10-10, and then they got the ball back and they was driving for a minute, and then we went out there and did what we were supposed to do. It wasn't as pretty as some people might thought it should be, but that's the league for you. They had a good defense. They played hard. We played hard. And so at the end of the day, I felt like we kept them out the end zone, and I was proud of that as a defense. But we got some things to clean up, but don't we all? Well, I believe in these guys in our room, and it's like I tell them boys all the time, it's on us because people don't see what the work we put in. They just see what we do on Sunday. So let's make sure we make Sunday the best day because of what we did during the week. And so I'm just happy that things coming together for us, everybody believing in themselves. When you have games like this, it's just a belief that you start a confidence that you start to build. And I'm not going to get too far ahead. I just know that today I was happy to get the win, and we got to stay consistent. It's about consistency. And so how we build from the next week, because we got a good one going up to the New York next week, and we got to make sure we enjoy this one, but we ain't done that yet.
Wild.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Do you know how many games you played in your career?
No, not 200.
One.
BG's a hero, man. He's a legend. He's a true legend, man. And he's still rocking and rolling.
He said he might be their best D lineman.
Yeah, he's killing it. He's killing it.
And that play he made, as you talked about, was
clutch.
third and short,
Very
makes
clutch.
knifes into the backfield and makes that play. Do you have like a favorite BG story?
Oh yeah, I want to say. I think we're playing the Jets. He was mic'd up and he goes, "Yo, I'm gonna do the Pee Wee Herman." I was like, "What?" And not only did he do the Pee Wee Herman, but he did it like 3 times. He was like 3 sacks. You remember that? Like, it was like a crazy drive, and I was just sitting there like, "Damn!" Like, it was crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah, I love the when he is mic'd up and he's
so
just
funny,
talking
man. He's
smack.
very entertaining dude.
He's like, man, I gotta block that guy. That's so good. And that, the laugh you hear.
That's pretty good. That's pretty
Stop
good.
talking all game. Is he start to finish?
Start to finish. Start to finish.
Also, notorious gas.
And it's the funniest thing is his locker room. Yo, his locker room. He's like the way he do the locker room before the game is even funnier.
Oh, like what?
Bro, he called everybody in his phone book. Yo, I'm like, damn, bro. How many people you going? He's like, ha ha. I tell you, yo, yeah, it's so funny. But when you understand his game, he don't like it keeps him calm, and then then you all uptight, everybody's uptight, but he keeps everything poised, man. That's what makes BG a legend and a hero in the city of Philadelphia.
Vinny, 134 career games.
I might have to come back for 70.
You got 66 more in you?
I need to get 70, so I can have over 200.
There we go. I like that. Now, Fran, your thoughts on general the defensive performance in this game? We talked about the Browns came in here with the worst offense in football. Deshaun Watson goes 16 of 23 for 168 yards. They lose Jerome Ford in this game. They lose Nick Harris, their starting center, on the first drive of the game. Michael Dunn moves over from right guard to center. I thought he played extremely well. Amari Cooper, 4 for 42. What'd you think of the defense?
Yeah, it's one of those that I'll always say I can't wait to go back and watch the film and see how the secondary played. A number of those plays you saw Deshaun Watson was double clutching as he was dropping back to throw, and you say, I wonder what the coverage looked like. It's entirely possible that guys were running scot-free across the middle, and he just was doing what he had been doing throughout the course of the season, where he just wasn't pulling the trigger on some of those throws. And so I do want to go back and see, but the pressure was evident from the jump. We saw not even on plays where it resulted in a sack. It was great to have 5 sacks on the board, but on a number of plays, they were able to force Deshaun Watson out of the pocket. There was a couple turnovers that they should have come away with. We talked at halftime, Jamie and I, about the Quinyon Mitchell and C.J. Gardner-Johnson near interception down the left side. But I think the pressure being there, that's certainly the number one takeaway for me from this defensive performance was the fact that the pass rush started to come alive.
And again, keeping in context that Deshaun Watson holds on to the ball a lot, takes more sacks than most quarterbacks. That said, we said that about the Bucks, right, coming into that game, that the Baker takes a lot of sacks. They weren't able to do anything in that game. In this game, they did. Those 5 sacks, as you talked about, Josh Sweat gets one, Nolan Smith gets one, Jalen Carter gets one, and you got a split between Cooper DeJean and Bryce Huff. Bryce Huff finally on the board. Post bye. Here we go.
Yeah, and you know what? I want to give some praise to Nolan Smith. I thought he did phenomenal today. At setting the edge, making his presence known, and bouncing out on the screen as we was watching. I thought he did a great job today.
One thing that always pops off with Nolan Smith, and to be fair, and Kobe Dean as well, who missed some tackles in this game.
Again.
But both of those guys, they play really hard.
They play really hard.
As you're figuring it out as a young player, and if you're a vet playing alongside those guys, that can lift the perception of you, right? Like even if you're not always doing your job, you're not always getting home. Like if you're playing hard, your other guys around you see that, right?
Yep, I'm telling you, it just shows will and want to.
Yeah.
And the harder you play, can kind of break an offensive lineman's spirit. Like, damn, man, this dude ain't gonna slow down yet. And start getting in their head a little bit. So I just wanted to just give him a little bit of praise because You know, he's been.
Yeah, he jumped.
He
jumped off the page today. He had a good game, and I thought Cooper DeJean. I mean, really,
stepping in as the full-time nickel
pretty
corner
great
in this
debut,
game.
right?
Great
Like,
day,
you know, the one missed sack, I know, but I think he was trying to go for the punch there, and Watson kind of like checked him, got in on the sack earlier. It just seemed to be around the ball a lot.
Yep.
Making plays. He didn't screw up. I thought it was a great debut for the kid.
Milton Williams and Thomas Booker also sharing a half sack as well. Jamie, what did you think of Kevin Stefanski's decision to kick that field goal after the false start there? It's like 4th and 14. You could go for it, but you have 3 timeouts.
I mean, I think that shows
3.5 minutes left.
He doesn't have much faith in his offense to pick up the 4th and 14. Yeah. So I guess he's thinking, I'll take the points, and this way a touchdown can win it for me. If I get the ball back, I got 3 timeouts. Kind of weird, but like their offense is so bad that I kind of get it in a way. It's kind of a no-win situation. I can't kill him on that one either. 14 yards to go is that's
tough
a lot
when you have all 3 timeouts.
Yeah. So I guess that's the thinking.
But then if you don't get it, they're backed up anyway. You're gonna get you could still get another chance. I think that's kind of a coin flip. But what do you think, Fran?
Yeah, in the moment, I wasn't feeling great about that decision if I'd be a Browns fan. But with the fact that they've struggled on 3rd down, especially in those 3rd and long situations, have been a non-starter for them. So I was not surprised by the decision. But obviously, it would require them getting a stop, and the Eagles were able to come through with an explosive play.
All right, tell us what you guys think.
Bo, Devin Stepp in the chat says your laptop is making them very nervous.
I think that brings a little drama to the.
It doesn't look bad from where I'm sitting, but seeing it on there, it looks like it's just teetering on the edge.
I'm happy to, as we keep going, I'll make it a little bit further.
It does look like it. I don't even know how it's holding on the camera.
I'll put my foot up here. Yeah, I think that's fine. It's good to have a little drama on the show. Keep the visual audience engaged.
Our Discord is afire with Nick Sirianni talk. Somebody just asked why we have a child coaching the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, listen. I mean, the haircut is funny. Borderline unhinged, I think is fair to say.
He went full Britney. You never go full Britney.
I really do think like him getting into it with the 2 Browns cornerbacks on that second drive of the game, which I don't know how much they showed on TV.
They didn't show it on TV
being
at all.
There in stadium, I mean, he's like demonstratively going like him and Greg Newsom. He's like stepping onto the field, pointing and stuff. It's like right in front of where Jeffrey Lurie's box is. And I had to go back to what Jeffrey Lurie said at the owners' meetings when he was asked about this, because there was the reporting that he doesn't like Nick's sideline demeanor. And,
I mean, it's hard to like, right?
And it's tough. And let me pull up what he says.
Sure.
He says one of the aspects that makes Nick really good is he's authentic. He doesn't hold back. That can also be a negative at times. I love his passion. I think he recognizes that it can be a little bit counterproductive if he overdoes his own passion, but you don't want to stop where that passion is coming from. You have to find a sweet spot. I think he wants to find a sweet spot of what that's like, but I love his passion. So, I mean, yeah, like he wants him to tone it down a little bit, and then at the end of the game, he's yelling at fans like, I know a win is a win, but you sort of like skated by the skin of your teeth with a 4-point win against a terrible team. Like, it's not necessarily pounding your chest time.
Was there like that foxhole mentality? I know that's something that coaches and players will point to at times when there's a lot of adversity around the team and it feels like, fans and media, everybody's against you. How do you feel about that, in a locker room in the moment? Is it lip service? Is it
like
real?
Us versus them? Like,
No. It has to be convincing, though.
Right.
Have to be convincing.
Yeah.
Do
you feel like what we've seen is enough?
If you they played a good game.
Right.
They did. Coming off a bye, you got the two star receivers back. But once again, they stopped the run. It was the defense played good, but it has to be convincing. When you drawing at the Philadelphia Eagle fan down next week, it don't look like that.
Yeah.
Against a New York team. Now them fans going to be drawing back at you. So why even rev them up? Now you win, you stack 2 wins. Yeah, you might. Okay, here we go. You know what I mean? We back in the consecutive win column. You're going to draw, but it has to be convincing if you're going to draw at these fans because it's a lot of them. It's a lot of them.
How does that translate on the sidelines? Like, can that pick you up if your coach is peacocking around, or are you and your generation? Is this a new school, old school thing?
I don't. We don't get caught up in that, because it's coming from a good place.
Sure.
That he's hyped up and he's fired up. He's not like
He's not poking a bear just to poke a bear.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it works if everybody's with him. If everybody's in lockstep, right?
But if there
are guys who think it's a distraction, I don't know. That's not great.
Yeah, but I don't think that the guys was even looking at him because they was just so locked in. Okay, we got back in the win column. Now it's time to stack these things. He just was probably overly fired up. I would love to hear what he had to say in his press conference if he even brings it up. If it was more convincing, then I'll be with him. Like, man, that was dope. Like,
you have played for different kinds of head coaches, right?
Yeah.
And Andy, super steady.
Oh, bro,
right? You could win by 70 points. You could lose by 30
Same
points.
press
You could win on the last play of the game. And he's going to be the exact
guarantee
same,
you,
right?
Big
That way
Red
too,
is the best poker player in the world.
Yeah,
right.
I guarantee you. What you see is this is him.
Yep.
If you win it, it's just him. If we get killed, I'm like, dang, this dude don't get rattled. Everything's a come here. It's like, the only thing that I ever see this man happy about besides winning championships is his cheeseburgers.
Cheeseburgers, that's right.
It's crazy.
But do you think that translated to the locker room? Like, did his steadiness translate to you guys? Like,
yeah, you don't want to be the one that's disappointing that man.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of the aura that he brought there, you know what I'm saying? And think about the tradition that he even revamped it here back in '99, like when he got here, like that tradition is means something.
Yeah.
All the great players that played under his umbrella, then he leaves. Like, we wasn't talking about Kansas City the way we talk about Kansas City now. Like, he go over there and do the same thing. That's because of his demeanor and his expectation is
the franchise.
That's right.
The curated history of the Birds by Zack Berman, wherever books are sold. I do think the key is, with respect to Sirianni, what Jeffrey Lurie says is the authenticity. Like, if that's who Nick is, that's fine. He's being himself. If it's like distracting to the guys and it's becoming a little bit too much, I could see that happening. I don't know. We will hear from Sirianni in a few minutes, but before we do that, we can talk about our friends at Constant Contact. Because I know you've got year-end goals, we all do. Constant Contact has what it takes to help you meet them faster. No matter how experienced you are with digital marketing, Constant Contact has the tools to make your marketing run smoother. Sell more, raise more, and build more genuine relationships with your audience with Constant Contact's suite of digital marketing tools, all made to fast-track your success. You no longer need to struggle with expensive, slow, and unmeasurable approaches to marketing your business. Tap email marketing that helps you create and send the perfect email to every customer. Own the smartphone by adding texting to your marketing strategy. Connect with over 2 billion people on social media with an all-in-one tool for posting and sharing, and sell more online in less time with Constant Contact's powerful e-commerce tools. You get all the automation, integration, and reporting tools that get your marketing running seamlessly. Join the thousands of businesses and millions of people who trust Constant Contact with their marketing success. Time to put the go in your 2024 business goals with email, social, SMS, and customized marketing campaigns built for you in just a few clicks. Ready, set, go to ConstantContact.com/AllCity and start your free trial today. Go to ConstantContact.com/AllCity for your free trial.
And I'll tell you about Miller Lights. It's the original light beer since 1975, and to this day, it's still the best one. It stood the test of time. Yesterday, we had my daughter's 3rd birthday party at the house, and friends and family were around. College football was on, and I just said, hey, there's a fridge full of Miller Lights downstairs for everybody, because Miller Lights always hit the spot when you're celebrating great times with friends and family. Miller Lite just tastes like a light beer should taste, and it's been that way since 1975, and they've got rid of everything that doesn't matter and held on to the undebatable quality, great taste, and only 96 calories per 12 ounces. A light beer that tastes like a light beer should taste. Less filling and only 96 calories. And you don't have to choose what's best. Miller Lite has great taste and is less filling. Tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, you can visit MillerLite.com/PHLY-birds, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer.
Couple injuries that we need to talk about.
Ooh, Mailata did not look good.
Jordan Mailata leaves and does not return with a hamstring injury. And Darius Slay left and did not return with a knee injury. When Slay went down, Isaiah Rodgers replaces him on the outside. Rodgers then went down himself. Keely Ringo comes in, then Rodgers came back. And at left tackle, that was in the fourth quarter, but Fred Johnson comes in and plays left tackle. What did you make
And
of
Dallas Goedert also.
And
with
Dallas
the hamstring.
Goedert, of course, leaves and does not come back. I'll tell you what, this is one thing that drives me nuts. And we have sort of talked about it over the past couple of weeks, Fran. Dallas Goedert goes down. So they still want to play 12 personnel. You've got Jack Stoll and Grant Calcaterra on the field. Why on earth is Grant Calcaterra the inline tight end and Jack Stoll's lining up in the slot? Like, players not plays, right? But give these guys the roles that are worthy of their respective skill sets.
Hey,
Drives me nuts.
It goes into the put your players in best position to make plays kind of thing. We saw some explosive plays from Grant Calcaterra.
He had some
on
juice
the move.
today.
He had some juice. He had the 20-yarder down the seam. He had the long catch and run that went for over 35 yards, right? But if both guys are on the field, and the Eagles played a decent amount of 12 personnel in this game, I thought that was interesting, especially in the first half. But having Grant as the inline guy with Stoll as the slot player was surprising for sure.
Oh boy!
All right, well, here we go. Nick with the family and this haircut.
Oh,
let's hear what Nick Sirianni has to say.
No, just excited. Just excited to get the win. Just excited to get the win. Yeah. It's hard to win in this league, so we're excited to get the win. Our fans created a couple false starts that really helped us win this football game. But just excited to get the win and appreciate the Lynx support. It's damn hard to win in this league, man. And they got some really good football players over there. And I know Coach Stefanski's a hell of a football coach, and so it's hard to win. But what we'll do is we're going to stay hungry. We're going to stay humble. We'll look at the things that we messed up, and we got to fix it. Did we play like a championship level team today? No, not by any means. We had mistakes that we need. That first and foremost is always going to be on me if we have those mistakes, and we'll get those cleaned up. And we'll be hard on the guys tomorrow. Based off the things, and we'll celebrate the things we did well, and we'll be hard on the things that we didn't do well. And all that matters is that we get better from this, and so excited about the win, and I thought that a lot of guys played really good games today. You know what? I mean, you guys keep talking about it, and then, we have two – defense started fast as shit, right? They started as fast as you possibly – sorry. You don't know what that means. Sorry. You're the only one who knows what that means. Defense started fast. You guys say this, and it's like slow start. We'll say it on the offense. The defense started fast, and you know what? We started slow. First two series, we didn't score, but then they put their head down and they went down and got points, and then they did it again. I don't want that to be in their heads. We didn't execute. We didn't call good enough plays, and we didn't score early on, but we scored. We scored and got up 10-0. So I think as a team we started well. We can start a little faster offensively. We'll keep working on that. Keep trying to put them in plays that they execute well. Put the ball in our playmakers' hands and let Jalen go to work. I thought Jalen played an unbelievable game today. We'll get on track. It will turn because we're working hard at it and players are working hard at it. I was having fun, and I kind of got some feedback from the guys. Is the sense of we need you back, Nick. We need your energy. We need your focus. We need your I've gotten that from a couple players, and when I'm operating and having fun, I think that breeds to the rest of the football team. if I want the guys to celebrate and be themselves after big plays, then I should probably do that myself, right? Now, there's times for that, and there's times not for that. I have to have wisdom and discernment of when to do that and when not to do that. But, I think 21. I was kind of talking back and forth with 21 and 0. I think Newsome and Denzel Ward are phenomenal football players, and Denzel Ward made a really good play there. I told Jacob that he's only allowed to get jerseys of players on other teams that are just superstars. Like, I don't want to see him with like mediocre player. Like, he can get a Denzel Ward jersey. I'll let him do that because that guy's a phenomenal football. That guy is a phenomenal football player. I had played college football with a bunch of guys from Nordonia where he went to high school. And so just got a lot of respect for him, and that's out of fun. And Rodney is the other guy. Obviously, I love Rodney. Man, Rodney means a lot to me. I think back about the Rodney talking to our football team in 2000. I actually felt like I think I said something today or this week how Rodney said something in 2021, and I have so much for Rodney McLeod. I have so much respect and gratitude towards him. And so he was talking to me. I was talking back to him. It was just all out of fun. A little bit during the bye, a little bit during the game. Obviously we'll keep stuff that I'll never try to give a competitive advantage to anybody else. So, I'll say this. I made the call on 3rd and 1, nobody else but me. Like I said to you, sometime I did that on defense one time as well. Made a call on defense. That didn't work out, just so you know. I'll put that out there. That wasn't on Vic. I won't tell you which play. But I'm going to do that from time to time. This time it didn't work. And so that's not nobody else but me. Then, we got to do a couple things a little bit different. Sit up straight. We got to do things a little bit different of how we let out. 95s are really good at blocking kicks. Like, man, that 95, man, holy crap, that guy's something else. Myles Garrett, I've never seen him. Maybe in 2020. Yeah, I saw him up. I think I saw him up close and personal in 2020. His name's Myles Garrett. He's named after you. You get the same name as him. But that dude's something else. He's as advertised. We watched him all week, and we thought about him all week. I don't think anybody thought of Myles Garrett as much as we did. And we had a plan for him on offense, and then he makes a play on special teams. I'm sorry? Nope. That was the quarterback that was Kellen and Jalen and something that they looked at. It's a good job by Jalen and AJ talking at the line of scrimmage, figuring out what the best play to go to was. There's a little bit of a check there, and good players making great plays. AJ's got. Yeah, you can ask them. I mean, if they want to tell you, they can tell you. But two guys made it great. AJ's got. I was just telling Jacob that my son that AJ is a guy that has probably caught so many footballs in his life and so many baseballs in his life. Like his deep ball, Jalen threw an unbelievable ball, but AJ's ball skills for a deep ball. I think about the pylon for a touchdown in the Super Bowl. You remember that one, buddy? Yeah. And I think about today, and I think about the two today. The guy's got his arm raked. Like this guy. I can't imagine how many pop flies his dad threw to him when he was a little kid, and how many times he actually had pop flies in baseball. And he has unbelievable ball skills to make a catch because of how much he's worked at it. Like he should trust his preparation because he's caught so many balls like that. And then Jalen, he's worked so hard to throw a pretty deep ball, and he made a perfect throw, a perfect catch. I thought Newsome had really good coverage on the play. But, Kobe Bryant used to say all the time, like, good offense beats good defense every day of the week. And they had a good defense on, but we had really good offensive play and our playmakers made a play when we needed it most. We had that mindset, and just so everybody's known, we had a mindset there of, hey, let's not give this ball back. Don't put our defense in a position where they got to stop them in 2 minutes. Kellen called a perfect game at the end of that game. he threw it when he needed to throw it. He ran it when he needed to run it. Our guys executed. They did a good job of stopping the run. Jim Schwartz, I can't say enough good things about Jim Schwartz. I think this city would agree that Jim Schwartz is a hell of a defensive coordinator, and I can't tell you how much respect I have for him and the style and how good of a defensive coordinator he's been for as long as he's been. But our guys just made a play in a 4-minute scenario. We've lost a couple games in 4 minutes where we'd given the ball back to the offense. And we had the mindset of, hey, we're going to end with this ball with this ball in our hands, and we did that because of great individual plays by at the end of the day by Jalen and AJ. Yeah, we've done a great job in red zone defense, and our guys work hard at it.
Says, what happened to passing the ball to Saquon out of the playbook after the Falcons game? ? Saquon Barkley in this game, 2 catches for 7 yards. So we haven't seen much of that really since week 1 in terms of the downfield throws.
Yep.
And then also real time with Prince Blue says he's full of ish. Nobody told Nick that. I think he's referring to wanting to see more of the antics. What did you make of that, Jamie?
I feel like I was on mescaline during all that. What the hell was that?
That could make for good content if you want to try that.
I mean, I think bringing the kids up there was a clear human shield of, hey, guys, don't grill me too hard, I think there's no other way to read that. And the kids don't want to be up there. Do you really want to deal with your kids up there? So anytime a kid comes up, I'm always like, yeah, it's a great memory and all, great photo for the family room. But
you don't get a lot of Sunday 1 o'clock home games at home.
Sure. I'll give him a pass, but that was weird. His answers just get weirder and rambling. Vinny, I did think of you right as he said, players came up to me and told me they want to see more from me. They want to see that. We talked about Andy Reid transferring to the locker room with his, steady pace. Right. You buy that? That guys want to see Nick, be who he is?
I think so. So you basically think about how the season's been going so far.
Yeah.
How you felt his energy after the first 2 games?
Well, he came in neutered.
Negative energy.
Yeah, he came in castrated from the offseason.
It was wounded or something.
Mm-hmm.
So the energy that you used to seeing him have on the sideline, today, him jarring at the fans was something that stuck out because we haven't seen it all year.
Yeah.
So that's probably where that was coming from. I'm pretty sure. They said, "Yo, we need your energy. It's gonna take all of us, including everybody.
Be yourself."
Yep. But it's back a couple weeks ago. I think we was talking about. They say you gotta let your personality show. That's what this game brings out. You gotta let your personality show, but with inside the lines, not get to get carried away. But
it's like you saw the Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown couldn't play.
Yeah, right? But when the last time we see any type of dance like that? Like even the whole bad boys thing that DeVonta and AJ Brown does. Like we love to see that. That brings out everybody, energy wise. So,
Fran, you mentioned that they played a lot of 12. In this game, 12 personnel. So I got a couple numbers for you.
Okay.
It was, in fact, according to True Media, and this could change since it's right after the game, a season high, 53% of their snaps on offense in 12 personnel. The previous high was 41%, which was last game. Why do you think that would have been? Especially considering that they lost Dallas Goedert on the first drive.
My guess is that they were liking the potential looks that they were getting. No Jordan Hicks on the field.
Okay.
So you don't have Jordan Hicks. Maybe they wanted Mohamed Diabate out there, their third line or fourth linebacker. That would be the first thing I would think of. And also, they might have looked at it during the bye and said, hey, you know what? We're not getting a ton from Jahan Dotson and 11 personnel, so let's lean into 12 personnel a little bit more. That could be it as well. I think I'm interested to go back and look at what the run-pass splits were on that as well, too, because they were trying to get that run game going. And as we talked about, the run game just wasn't fruitful for them today. But I'm interested to see the motion numbers as well. It felt like, again, where there wasn't a ton of motion, but when they used it, they were really, really good. I mean, they were, I think they were using motion at like a 50% clip coming in, but they had the 4th highest success rate when they used motion offensively coming into this game. I know that for a fact, both touchdown passes from Jalen Hurts came off motion. The one explosive pass play, or the one explosive run play from Kenny Gainwell happened when they brought a guy in motion across the formation, and it removed a defender from that side. And so you're seeing some of these tools work in their advantage, but just not pushing those buttons nearly enough to create some easy button throws for Jalen Hurts.
The other one that jumps out here, a season low in play action. Only 5% of their dropbacks play action.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of which ones they would have been. I mean, the only thing I don't know. I'm trying to think of the ones that we saw. There was the one throw to Calcaterra down the seam that went for 20 yards, and that was the only throw that Jalen attempted over the middle at the intermediate area all day. Was that one throw to Calcaterra, and that was off play action. But after that, I think everything else was just straight drop back.
Well, here's your numbers on the splits. 12 and 11.
Okay.
In 12, they ran 33 plays and ran the ball 24 times.
There we go.
And then in 11, they had 24 plays and ran the ball 8 times.
But so then that goes against if we're saying that they liked the matchup of getting a third linebacker on the field. But if you're just bringing that linebacker on the field to run it, that doesn't help you unless they just
the opposite of what they did in 2022.
Yeah,
you go heavy to pass and you spread them out to run.
Unless they just say this guy Diabate can't play the run.
Yeah.
If they just say like that, and which that might be the book on him because, just remembering what he was like at Utah coming out, he was a very like light linebacker. They might say like, hey, we can take advantage of this guy in the box. But if you don't have Dallas Goedert to be like that extra like additive guy, that +1 in the run game, that might take away from that as well.
Let me ask you guys this. What play do y'all think he was talking about?
On defense?
Yeah.
So this to me is the biggest red flag.
So no question. Yeah, Vic's going to be asked about this first question.
That means, is that a trust thing? Is that let me just get this thing? Hey, let me just call something thing? Like, what do you guys think that is?
I don't know.
That's bizarre.
We should have. You're right because we should have talked this.
Like I don't think you have to.
The third one he fell on the sword for was the missed Saquon block before the field goal. But what defensive play?
Right. Yeah, which to be fair, like Saquon does need to do a better job.
Oh, he missed that one.
He's got to get the first down, and then he loses the blitz pickup on the next play. But yeah, I mean, to hear Nick say unprompted, and this is not the case of him just covering for like a bad play
he almost
call,
seemed gloaty about it.
Like he called a play on
like
defense,
I did it, guys.
It didn't work out well. What are you doing?
I told Vic on the headset, I'm calling this one. Back off, buddy.
Yeah.
Weird.
I don't know about that one.
That was crazy.
I mean, that's terrifying.
I don't know.
Was it one of the third down pickups?
Came from though, like where did that?
Yeah, what's the genesis of that?
How do you even? Yo, back up. Like,
yeah, like
wow.
What is that?
No, Vic, I don't like that.
Also,
one.
like, does Nick even have it in him to like call a specific defensive player? Or is he just like, hey, you got a blitz here? Like,
that's the thing is that it could be something like that.
Right.
I buy that.
Yeah,
but for him to say like, nah, Vic, like I got this, and him like like going into N'Kobe's helmet, into calling him the play. I don't know if I buy that.
The only thing I could think of is, as much as we gave the praise earlier, with the pressure, I don't think the run in the run they was that stout. So I wonder if it was one of those plays or something like that. That's what made me ask that question. Like, what do you guys think it was? Because I felt like we didn't stop the run the way we wanted it to stop the run today.
Yeah, I think you're right, especially with them missing Jerome Ford after the first couple plays. Pierre Strong, 8 for 43. Deontay Foreman, 10 for 31. So that combined 18 for 74. You would expect them to do a little bit better.
Yeah.
Against a beleaguered offensive line. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and you're right. That's going to be the first question.
It should be, yeah. I can't imagine that that's not the first question on Tuesday or Wednesday when Vic speaks.
And I can't imagine, like, that Vic likes being told what to call on defense.
I was just thinking, like, what is he thinking?
That's what made me ask. Like, I'm like, all right, go ahead. Like, if you in the flow, what if he was in the flow?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And he's up in the box, too. Like, it's over headset. It's weird. You're not, like, that seems strange.
I don't know. I literally don't even know what to make of it. I'm speechless with that one.
It's wild. I can't even. Yeah,
and I think he alluded to it being a negative play. I can imagine
what Vic is thinking. Like, what? No. But it wouldn't be calling into the headset, like you would, because you would never mess up who he's actually
Of
hearing
course,
from, right?
yeah,
It
but
would
that's
be
what
like,
yeah.
No, I mean the two of
find
them
that-
talking.
Yeah.
I think that my guess is it's probably more along the lines of what you were alluding to, where it's like,
blitz.
hey, like we need to blitz here or we need to do this, as opposed to him saying, no, I got this call. Call this instead.
Unless-
I got to think that would be it.
Unless the energy he was bringing was, we need to fucking blitz here right now. Like, I said, call it.
Right,
It was
yeah.
like one of those.
Yes.
And we just didn't catch it.
Yeah.
But I will 80% say it was one of those because
Right.
he showed you that he was letting his personality show today.
Yeah.
So, but that just was crazy.
I'm gonna be very curious to see what play it was.
I just know that Jimmy ain't letting nobody call no play for him. Like,
Yeah,
I don't think Vic would either.
Like,
I don't think
it's the
Vic
kind
would
of thing
either.
where, like, if Vic Fangio quits tomorrow, you'll know why.
He's the highest paid defensive coordinator in the league, is he not?
Probably.
I think he
oh,
is.
well, then, you know what? Then there you go. You
Yeah,
wanna
he's
call
not
something,
actually,
go
gonna,
ahead,
but
you know?
like, yeah, he's gonna be mad about that,
Yeah.
no doubt.
And he's gonna have to answer questions about it.
Yeah.
Which is not gonna be fun either.
Maybe at a restroom break.
And you know what? Like,
Jim Harbaugh just left the game and he's not coming back. So maybe NFL poops is a thing going around today. You know,
Wait,
maybe
really?
Vic. Yeah, Jim Harbaugh said
you serious?
unlikely to return.
Really?
Apparently left the sideline. I just saw
Really?
a quick tweet about it.
Oh,
So
wow.
maybe he's got real
What?
bad diarrhea. Maybe Vic had to run to the can. I don't know.
That's tough. Yeah, I this is one where, you know, Zach would like to say, like, I always want them to be honest. Like, please tell us the truth. That's for the benefit of everybody. And Nick maybe should have kept that one to himself.
Yeah.
Nick hair color make him look like CM Punk. Do y'all know what it is?
Yeah. Yeah, like when he was straight edge, right?
Yeah.
I don't know that it's a good look for him.
I don't think it personally works for him either.
The
but-
badass look,
Yeah, I mean,
man.
my opinion is not the one that matters, but
Right, exactly.
I immediately go to Brittany shaving her head and attacking people with umbrellas.
Nick,
but, you
Nick
know.
got to pull up to the game
I've
in a
already
Harley
heard the Britney comparison.
with,
Yeah,
with the leather vest on.
yeah. I mean, he looks like he's getting ready to march on the Capitol. Here
Yeah.
comes Jalen Hurts. Let's hear what he has to say.
I think it was show really, really good signs of complementary football throughout this game. Some moments not so much, but in the end we were able to find a way together as a team. Proud of how our defense really stepped up and played. Young guys, you know, Cooper and Quinyon stepping up, get some really good receivers. BG obviously showing up in his 200th game. That's really hard to do. So that's a testament to him and his journey and the leader he is. And Chauncey being able to step up and make some plays as well. And then obviously up front, being able to wreck the quarterback and get after the quarterback like they did. So from what I saw, I was very happy of that. Made some big-time stops, made some big plays on the perimeter. Always good to have those guys out there. We just need to continue to build as a team, build that identity. Always good to build off of a win. So we just want to continue to take steps. Say that again. It's an alert in my mind, yeah. So when you alert something, it always has the potential to be number one. That's not necessarily the guy that is drawn up to go to, but everybody's accessible. I mean, he's really good at catching the deep ball. He tracks it well, knows how to use his body well. And he's very strong, and I think he's gotten faster too. So he made some great catches. It was. It worked.
What does it mean to have a turnover-free game? It's been a while since you've done that.
Just coming out here and playing clean. You know, good to come off of a win, especially after all the work that we put in, all the conversation that I've had with everyone, and it's good. It's good to win. That's what it all is about at the end of the day. We all come here, put our time, our efforts, our energy. We spend so much time with one another just to chase this common goal, you know, and That's team football, and I think today we play Eagles football. Had to clean up some things. I had the situation before half I think could have been avoided, but ultimately we're building. And it's always good to build off of a win.
They're going to tell us what the questions are, so that's all right. In a minute, we're going to hear from Fran breaking down what might have been the most important play of the game. We're also going to hear from Zack Berman in a little bit. We will do that after a word from our sponsors. And we start with our presenting sponsor, the good folks at Bet365, where it is never ordinary. Bet365 has 90 million users worldwide, and they live stream over 780,000 events each year with early payout offers across the NBA, NFL, NHL, and MLB. Bet365 pioneered live in-game betting, and today they offer the widest range of games and markets available for live in-game betting across 78 sports. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Use the code PHLY365 to sign up. Deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $200 in bonus bets. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. They've got an extra special deal for Sunday Night Football and also the baseball playoffs. If you can bring yourself to keep watching, download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
And if you're like everybody else I know right now, we're right in the thick of allergy season, and people are battling out there, whether it be an itchy throat, watery eyes, a runny nose, whatever it may be. Fall allergies are a bear, and the people over at Rite Aid are here to help you. Stop in and talk to your friendly neighborhood Rite Aid pharmacist. Maybe some of the over-the-counter stuff you're trying isn't the best path for you. They can help you with tons of things. The main culprits are ragweed and mold, but other big allergens in the fall include plants like sagebrush, tumbleweed, and that damn pigweed, plus dust mites, pet dander, and fur. They can help you get ahead of it and maybe check pollen counts or shower more. Use a dehumidifier. They'll talk you through the process and help you battle these fall allergies. So stop into your friendly neighborhood Rite Aid. Talk to a pharmacist. They can help you about different type of medications like decongestants that might help you. And you can always ask your pharmacist for recommendations to get relief in other ways during allergy season.
All right, Fran. 13-13 game.
Yep.
Fourth quarter. And for the second time in their past 4 games, the game-winning touchdown, or game-winning play, basically, comes on mesh. How did that spring DeVonta Smith for a 45-yard touchdown?
Yeah, I mean, they were ready for a third down, man coverage, blitz play call, and they had the right call dialed up for it. It was exactly what they got basically against the Saints a couple of weeks ago, where you sprung Dallas Goedert. This time it was Jack Stoll doing a really good job, essentially setting the pick against Denzel Ward in coverage.
That's why
against the corner in that coverage. But DeVonta's inside and he's working the shallow cross. He had a tight end, Grant Calcaterra, working up the seam. That kind of sets that first level of interference. But it's Jack Stoll essentially running at the corner that's chasing DeVonta, and you saw the corner basically stop, and just stop in his tracks. DeVonta's wide open, beautiful catch and run. Again, that was blitz. Man coverage, so it's what we talked about the other day. If you against a blitz like this, if you can make that first man miss, no matter how it is, whether it's a pick play like that or if it's the ball carrier forcing a missed tackle, you're going to get an explosive play. He was wide open because it's man-to-man coverage. You only had the one safety deep, and if the safety's taken away, that'll be enough to create the explosive. And so the Eagles were able to get on the board there with the mesh play touchdown.
So this is sort of the tension between, do we want to be showing more new stuff? Like, are we disappointed that they're coming out of the bye on offense? You've got your 2 best players back on the outside. We're still sort of seeing the same looking offense. There's nothing new or fresh. Versus, well, let's do what we do well. This is a staple play for us. Let's run it. And if it's the perfect call, then it looks like that.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with it. I honestly want to see more.
Yeah.
Like, there were 4 completions over the middle today, or there were 4 attempts over the middle today. 3 of them were caught for explosive plays. Like he averaged, it was like 12 or 13 yards an attempt on those plays over the middle of the field. That's not by accident. Like that's where some of these explosive plays come in the NFL in 2024. And so, yeah, I'm okay with them running mesh back. And we saw, I mean, Vinny, those 2013, those 2014 teams, like, Chip Kelly, LaShawn McCoy and Deshaun Jackson, like you ran mesh over and over and over again. Yeah, like, it was like breathing to that offense. And so to me, I look at that as like, yeah, like keep dialing those up.
It's like one of those things you want to get the ball into one of your best players' hands as quick as possible.
Yeah. Right. And there's
Brian Westbrook's screen game.
Right.
Like, I was a big fan of plays that work.
Yeah. And also, if you run it enough, there are like fun change-ups you can do off of it. And that's where those Chip Kelly offenses, when they ran it so much, you saw them do like the fake mesh where he looks like he's going to break inside, but he puts his foot in the ground and breaks back to the sideline, and then he's wide open. And so there's plenty that you can do off of it. So I'm cool with them running some of those same plays if they work. It's a high percentage play. Absolutely. I think you want to try and push those buttons.
By the way, Elliot Shore Parks just tweeted, I think we missed this part of Nick. Nick Sirianni said the deep shot to A.J. Brown at the end of the game was a decision made by Jalen off of what they saw.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds you of the Seahawks.
The Seahawks,
right?
yep.
Like there's a look that they got, and he just automatically goes to AJ there. I think Jalen was talking about it. He says it's an alert. Doesn't mean it's definitely going to go there, but
yep.
Yeah, he went for it.
Well, you can tell by the smile on his face today.
Yeah.
Right. Which I think that works, right? Like that's I think that's but again, I think the alerts are good from that standpoint. If that's what it was, and it wasn't like hey, we're changing this play at the line of scrimmage, and you're going to run the go ball. But if you just don't want to build the whole plane out of it, right? You just don't want that to be the majority of what Jalen's dropbacks are. You want to try and create some easier throws for him within the structure of the offense.
Yeah. I mean, this goes to the whole conversation we've had with Daniz about like the expected completion percentage. Like he throws these balls that are tough balls to complete, but he does it because he has AJ Brown and DeVonta Smith.
Yeah,
like
it doesn't need to be that hard. Like
it shouldn't have to be that
hard.
No, right?
When we looked at those numbers last year, and it was you look at all the top receivers in football. We go back again, looking at 2023, and it was Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson. You look at all those guys, and the percentage of plays that those guys, the percentage of yardage and receptions that those guys had that came off of motion, that came off of play action, that were attacking the middle of the field. Whereas you look at AJ and DeVonta, and everything is contested, nothing is wide open, everything is outside the numbers and vertical. Again, it's a tough way to live. It's a tough way to make money.
Jamie, what do you make of now all 5 games? The Eagles now remain scoreless in the first quarter, and I think Zach looked it up. The 5th or 6th team since 2000 to go scoreless for that long into the season in the first quarter.
Yeah, Fran and I talked about it in the pregame show, and coming off of the bye at home versus a mid-Cleveland defense,
first drive again.
Like those first 15 plays theoretically should have been the best they got, right? Like you want to come out of the bye at home with the stadium that could turn on you like this, and you want to put together some first. And I even said to Fran, I was like, I'm a simple man. Just give me a Saquon Barkley 6-yard run, set up a 2nd and 4, baby step your way down the field.
What you got.
And they got it. And then 2 deep shots that were really tough plays. And I just went, whoa, what is going on here?
I think this should be actually the return of serve this week. Should be Vic goes in and tells Nick, hey, I'm calling the first drive on offense this week. Like you give that to me.
Yeah.
But also, actually, not only that, but
you think he should call the whole game?
Well, no, I was going to say they came out at halftime and they went 3 and out again.
Yeah.
In the start of the third quarter, like you had halftime to kind of huddle up and figure out, all right, hey, this is how we want to start. And they come out and they go 3 and out again. You're coming out of the locker room.
It's concerning. I mean, it's concerning.
Why does it keep happening? Yeah,
it's very weird with the star caliber players that they have on this offense. This should not be the case. You should not be the only team in the NFL that hasn't scored in the first quarter.
Vinny, is this part of what activated the fan inside of you as opposed to the player?
Blood pressure. Blood pressure.
Rite Aid's got you
Only
covered.
Because, like you said, you're coming out the bye. And listen, we just want to get back to cheering for our team and having a great time cheering for the team. And, this week, it goes back to what I was telling you. You got to be consistent. if they go and score 2 touchdowns in the first quarter this coming Sunday, I think we all be pretty happy with the win of the game. But, just in the first quarter. So it's like, damn, when the last time we saw an Eagles team not score no points in the first quarter?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So Mike in the chat just shared something, and I went and looked it up a couple hours ago. This was after. It looks like it was 2 hours ago, so it must have been after the A.J. Brown touchdown. So Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. This was the 6th reception with under 25% completion probability since 2022. That's from AJ and
the
Jalen
touchdown
Hurts.
was that low? That didn't seem like that low.
But it's a fade outside the numbers.
Yeah.
Like it's contested. Like it's a tough throw and it's a tough ball. It's a tough completion. He's second in the NFL. Who's first?
Jack Stoll.
DeVonta Smith. DeVonta Smith has 7 under 20. So you have the 2 leading receivers in terms of sub 25% completion percentage opportunity. That's what I mean. Like everything is so hard. It's like watching, if you say Steph Curry can only shoot from behind half court every time. And he's like, yeah, Steph Curry is going to shoot better than anybody doing that.
Yeah.
But why? You don't need to do that. You don't need to do it.
And why, like, in week 1, it looked like there was more to the offense.
Yeah.
Right? It looked so different in week 1. What has changed?
Or what
They
has
got
stayed,
AJ back.
What
Like,
has stayed the same?
Yeah.
I guess is the more this is a fairly boring offense over the last 15 or 16 games, almost a full body of work. There's one constant here.
We will hear from Zack Berman in a few minutes. Let's I'll give you the rundown of playing time snaps if you'd like to hear them.
Sure.
On offense, we talked about they were 12 heavy, so Lane, Jalen, Mekhi Becton, DeVonta Smith, Lennon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens play the whole game. A.J. Brown misses 3 plays. Calcaterra, 55 of 60 snaps. Mailata and Saquon, 49. Jack Stoll, 37 snaps. Jahan Dotson, 22 snaps. 1 catch for 10 yards. Huge catch on that final drive. But other than that, absent from the offense. And then Fred Johnson, Kenny Gainwell with 11. Johnny Wilson with 4. Dallas Goedert with 3. Reed Blankenship and Tyler Steen with 1. Johnny Wilson, he was like, that was a nice little drive that they had when he was on the field in 11 personnel, and then they didn't go back to him. That was a bit of a surprise. On defense, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Zach Bond, Reed Blankenship, and Quinyon Mitchell play the whole game. 53 snaps. Nakobe Dean, 51. Is that a change, Fran? Was Nakobe Dean the dime linebacker early in the season instead of Zach Bond?
I'm trying to think back.
That he was.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I have to go back and look at that because they didn't run a ton of.
There were only 2 snaps of dime, but I think that was the case. DeJean, 48. Jalen Carter, 40 of 53 snaps. That is a lot of snaps. As he continues to play a huge amount of snaps for a defensive lineman. Josh Sweat, 35. Bryce Huff, 28. So back as the number 2 edge rusher. Darius Slay, 27. Milton Williams, 24. BG, 22. Isaiah Rodgers, 21. Jordan Davis, 21. Nolan Smith, 21. Moro Ajama, who had a very good game with 19. And then Thomas Booker, 7. Keely Ringo, 5. Avonte Maddox, 2.
Keely Ringo with a nice little pop there on that one run play. How about that?
Snap of the game. It lays the board for him. I kind of like Ajama. Has he jumped out to you at all, Vinny? 97?
You know what? Yes. When you're doing your job and you're doing it like playing hard, of course you're going to jump out to us. And like we were saying that earlier that those guys up there in the middle are doing a good job. But like I said, you go back to what Fran was saying. You got to put them guys in position to jump out and to make plays. And I thought they've been doing just that.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what some of the differences were from like a front alignment standpoint. You went through the snap counts. It's like you go back to the game against Tampa where we saw a lot of those 3 defensive tackle up front with 1 defensive end on the field. I want to see how much of that we saw over the course of this game. I don't know if you were charting that early in the game while you were there, Bo, but it felt like we saw a little bit more standard front alignments from the Eagles in this game. But and so then it begs the question, like, all right, was that like a heat rotation type of thing against Tampa? But that's something I'll be interested to watch tomorrow.
Calling it?
Right, of course. Now you got to bring that into question now.
You never know.
We've opened that door.
What'd you say that was for Nolan Smith? 21 or 22?
21, yeah.
21?
Yeah.
21 and 53, yeah.
I think that speaks to how well he played because it felt like a lot more. Like I felt like I saw him a lot, and maybe that just means every play he was making an impact.
And I also do think, we sort of joked about getting his first half sack. I thought that Bryce Huff, as a pass rusher, looked more active today than he had early in the season.
And he had a couple stops in the run game as well.
Yeah.
So he was showing up in both phases.
Okay, that's good. He's coming on the come.
He's coming along.
All right. Let us know if you have any other questions in the chat before we get to Zack Berman. Are you generally feeling any better about the team than you were, 5 hours ago?
Absolutely not.
I don't think you can feel better. I don't think you can feel better.
I mean, it's nice that they won, and a win is a win.
I mean, I borderline feel worse, but
yeah,
I don't think you can feel. To me, like I feel like this is a status quo game, right?
Yeah.
It's a mediocre team coming in. They're 2-2. You are what your record says you are. And you went toe-to-toe with another mediocre team, and you came out with a win. 4 points against another mediocre team. And a lot of the inconsistencies we talk about.
The holding out hope that they got
another year
back in the books and during the bye, and the offense is going to look so much different. That didn't really happen. Like that they're going to be making better decisions in terms of like game management stuff. It's a little bit like, okay, this just is a mediocre team. And we'll see if we can ride these unlikely events with A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith making these contested catches.
I can't get over that stat.
That's wild.
To, a playoff win.
So, but we weren't with you at the end of the first half before we went live. You were coming back from the stadium. I thought of you right away because it was a classic mismanaged game management situation. Saquon tries to pick up the first by getting out of bounds. I guess to save the timeouts.
Gotta get the first down. You have 3 timeouts.
Yeah. I thought that was just thinking too hard. And then you don't call a timeout at 53 seconds. You let the play clock go down and die and then you call a timeout when the clock is dead.
I think that was a Browns timeout.
Was it?
Before the field goal.
Because this is the play that Nick said he called also.
He called, yeah. He said he called the third down play. But I think that was a Brown. I think the broadcast showed that it was an Eagles timeout. But the play-by-play had it as a Browns timeout.
The timeout before the actual field goal was a Browns timeout.
Right, correct. I thought that was an Eagles timeout. But I mean, that almost flipped the game on its head. That was a bad football team mistake there.
I mean, you would also think because Saquon, we were talking about Saquon running out of bounds before the marker. It's like, why did he do that? To me, like he was probably pressing to try and stop the clock because the Eagles didn't use the timeout on the previous play where AJ got 9 yards and he gets tackled.
They had 3 timeouts.
Well, that's the thing is use the timeout there. Yeah. Like you have the timeout at your disposal. Use it. And then maybe Saquon's not pressing to try and get out of bounds as fast as possible there. On the second down play.
And then Myles Garrett just is Superman.
I do think though, Vinny, you have to appreciate as a former Eagle, even if the Eagles are not a great team right now, at least they're a nice team because giving Rodney McLeod a touchdown in his return, give the guy some flowers.
That was crazy. That was crazy. And I
feel like Rodney, a very underrated Eagle.
Yeah, yes, he is.
Agree.
But the fans, I feel like even the fans were happy that he scored a touchdown. You never see that.
He was all over the place today, I thought.
Yeah, he definitely played good at man, now he got me thinking about that stat.
Leading tackler, Rodney McLeod, 8 tackles.
Wow.
Do you have what happened in your games against the Eagles? Did you have any? The Tampa and the Jets, or just those joint practices?
Just one. Just the one.
You had
Tampa,
one game.
The Tampa one.
With Tampa, how'd it go for you?
It went pretty well. It went pretty well. I think we won.
Was that the DeJean touchdown on the first play of the game?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one for you. You got the W. That was nice. The Eagles were nice to DeJean on that one too.
You don't want to sit there and like 2 weeks later the coach got fired. That was crazy.
Oh, and Fitzpatrick's wearing the DeJean outfit.
That was that game. Yeah.
That was a big thing. Yeah, like you guys.
Fitz magic.
That was a big thing because James was out. And then we tried to push to come back, and it was like, nah. That was crazy. I'm hell yeah, it was my first year there. I'm like, this is crazy. Like,
well, I want everybody to imagine you can picture that outfit Ryan Fitzpatrick wearing in your mind, full chest hair out.
Especially when Conor McGregor was on fire, so he looked just like him.
That's right. And now we're gonna go to Zack Berman, who's wearing the same thing. Too bad.
What's up, Zach?
How we doing, ZB?
What's going on, Vinny? I'm doing great. I was enjoying that conversation for the past few minutes. But thrilled to be on right now.
We thought you was gonna get on here with some jewelry on, looking like Conor McGregor.
Zach from the top row.
Listen, we spared you an ad read this time.
That's true. That's true. But you know what? The post game locker room was probably similar to the sentiment on the show. And then Nick Sirianni's press conference was probably a little different sentiment than the sentiment on the show. Yeah, in the post game locker room, like it wasn't a team overwhelmed by how they played, right? You know, Lane Johnson, who's been around for a while, as we all know, he was pretty honest about, like, it was sloppy. A win's a win, but you know there are things they need to clean up. The slow starts were something that he said is a problem right now that they need to fix. But you know, overall, the big picture sentiment was that they came away with a win. It's hard to win in this league, as you always hear. The defense played really well, kept they kept them out of the end zone. As far as the defense, obviously the Browns scored on special teams, but it was not like a big locker room party. It was not like New Orleans game. It was not like the Green Bay game. It was much more business as usual. You held serve, so to speak. You won the game, but you didn't come away thinking that everything's solved. And then Nick was trying to kind of say everything's great, right? And they'll figure it all out, even though they had the past 2 weeks to do it. But they'll figure it all out now, and there's nothing to worry about. It's hard to win in the league, but it was an interesting comparison between the locker room and the press conference room.
So, Zach, we were talking here. Do you have any idea? Was there any discussion amongst the media of what call Nick Sirianni superseded Vic Fangio, or possibly called a defensive call with?
So here's the thing. I don't think Nick's completely telling the truth with that stuff. I think what Nick is going to be doing this season is he'll be saying every bad call's on him, right? So if there's like when he referenced the play before halftime, the sack on third down, it would really surprise me if like Nick's only calling the bad plays. And it would be kind of like Jeffrey Lurie piggybacking all the good picks that were made. So I think that's something Nick's doing to try to like be accountable, that he'll just say whenever there's a controversial play in the game or a play that has a really negative result, he'll come forward and say that one was on me.
That's fine.
I don't know which.
It's not the same on defense, Zach. It's not the same.
Yeah. So
first of all, on offense, we understand that he's trying to like step on the grenade, if you will. But it's not great that means that there are lots of plays, presumably during the game, where Nick is involved in the play calling process. That strikes me as an issue. But then to open it up that he's also doing stuff on defense, volunteer that, to me goes beyond just covering for his guys, because he knows he's not creating a maelstrom around like questions to Vic Fangio about how involved is Nick.
Yeah, I think he's trying to present it. Like, I think the way he thinks it comes off is like blame me for all the bad stuff, credit them for all the good stuff. I don't know if the intention is received that way, but I think that's what he's trying to do. But if that is in fact true, the two plays that come to mind would be the 3rd and 10 conversion to Amari Cooper in the fourth quarter to get them near the goal line, or the big play to Jerry Jeudy. I mean, those would be the only two that would really come to mind that could qualify. That the only time the Browns went into the red zone was at that point in the game. So they barely threatened them. I actually thought the Eagles defense played well today. Now, Deshaun Watson doesn't, he certainly helps the Eagles with that, but I thought the Eagles defense played well today. So yeah, that surprised me that Nick said that about the defense, but I think this is going to be his MO. Maybe there's veracity to it, but I'm not making these a big deal, because I think what he's trying to do is like really promote the accountability for when things go bad. It's on him.
I mean, it was also the second best of 6 games on offense for the Browns this season, so it's not like the defense shut them down.
No, they didn't shut, but they didn't allow them to score a touchdown. I mean, typically, if your defense holds the other team to 9 points, you're going to win the game. Like, we can go through what I haven't looked at the advanced data on it, but from a simple version, you hold the team to 9 points. That's typically good enough to win.
So, Zach, one of the stories, unfortunately, from this game is the health. I know you don't automatically get updates in the locker room, but Jordan Mailata, Dallas Goedert, Darius Slay, three pretty big pieces of this team, all leave with some injuries. Any sense of how serious some of these hamstrings are? Mailata going off in the cart didn't look like great optics. Any sense of what's happening there?
Well, I spoke to, well, I tried getting more information on the severity of Jordan's injury. I don't believe that Sirianni has the medical meeting until after the press conference. It's not before the press conference. Lane Johnson's hoping everything's okay. He saw it happen. I was talking to him about that. He didn't have an early sense of the severity. Darius Slay, I saw him walking in the corridor after the game. He was, he had a limp, but it wasn't like, he was on crutches or anything like that. Dallas Goedert was on the sideline during the game. I don't think that's a long-term injury. Whether he's back next Sunday, we'll see. But I think Mailata is the one to really be focused on. I did ask after the game about it. The medical meeting had not taken place at the time that I asked.
On Nick, Zach, just to circle back on it, the decorum stuff. We talked about what Jeffrey Lurie said at the owners' meetings. What did you make of it?
So, did you guys watch the press conference? Did you get Nick's? Okay, so yeah, I mean it was a long one today. It was interesting that what?
No, it was long. He was rambling.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys got to this part or not, but that a few of the players told him during the bye week that he needs to get back to kind of who he was from a personality perspective.
Do you think he's telling the truth on this?
Jalen Hurts said he was one of them. Jalen Hurts says he doesn't know what other guys said, but Jalen says you have to be you. And so that I did sense early in the season, Nick trying to be different. And so that was an interesting admission that perhaps it was a little tight around there. I don't know, but that there was a noticeable difference with Nick. I don't think now Nick's answers about, it's just the fans cheering, that kind of thing. He said, you don't like when your fans boo. They hear that. You don't think that you don't like it. Clearly he didn't like it. For Nick to react that way, something had to be said that really set him off. Now, where Bo and I were sitting in the press box before halftime, there was a fire Nick or Nick must go chant. It didn't catch on, but the boos very much did. Now, Lane Johnson said, he heard the boos.
Doesn't have the same ring to it. It's not as good of a chant.
Lane Johnson heard the boos. He basically said the boos were fair. They weren't playing well early, right?
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, Nick's, I thought my big takeaway, other than the fact that is a bad look for Nick to be screaming at your own fans after a win. My big takeaway was players telling them that, because if that is the case, and Jalen Hurts did say he was one of those guys, then it shows that Nick's kind of reserved nature, or in trying to be reserved during the first month of the season, did not go over the way it needed to. If players felt that Nick needed to get that swagger back. So I thought actually that
the perception that he wasn't demonstrative in those first 4 weeks either.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, you remember in the Saints game or in the Falcons game, he's like Conor McGregor down the sideline and going after CJ Gardner-Johnson after he makes that fourth down stop. I think it's because they weren't playing well that he wasn't. Like, if they were playing well, he would be more demonstrative.
Yeah, true. But perhaps it's the trash talking on the sideline which is something he's done in the past.
That's what this team's missing, is more trash talk from the head coach.
I'm just relaying to you what was said. But I thought that was an interesting admission.
The problem with all of this, and as we've talked about, and Fran did a good job outlining how difficult the plays that A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith have made. It's hard to love the chest pounding when this game is decided by the Eagles having A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith on the field. If they don't have A.J. Brown, I don't think they have schemed up a win in this game. And so What is your read on like the importance of having those guys back?
Yeah, I mean it's clear, and I said this after the Green Bay game that this team's built around its stars. So you look at that drive to put them ahead. I know it was a 4-play drive, but one was an incompletion. So 3 plays. One is a good chunk run from Saquon Barkley, or a good run by Saquon Barkley. The next is a big pass to A.J. Brown. The next is a big pass to DeVonta Smith. Jalen Hurts said that pass to DeVonta was, it was similar to the big play in the Saints game. So yeah, it's clear. And I said this on the shows this week that the biggest change the Eagles can make is getting their stars back. And when those guys are in the lineup, it's a lot different. And so you are right. I don't think they like outcoached Stefanski here. Or the Browns. I thought the Browns played a sloppy game. I think there was things the Browns could have done better, but I don't think this was like a coaching or schematic masterclass from the Eagles. I think the Eagles stars made big plays throughout the game, but especially, it was interesting talking to DeVonta about some of this. DeVonta said that like you got to be patient. You got to be patient during the game, and that you're getting man coverage against this team. You're not going to get man coverage every week. And so when you face man coverage, you got to take advantage of it. And that's exactly what happened on the big touchdown that he had, he said.
I was going to say, and that's Zach, I asked you on Thursday about if you had gotten any sense behind the scenes, if there was anything else that they were really emphasizing offensively, because honestly, my like antenna went off a little bit when Nick Sirianni, at his press conference on Wednesday, really harped on like the turnovers. And that was the big takeaway from the bye week and how they had to eliminate the turnovers. And yes, they did in this game, but that didn't stop them from still being inconsistent offensively. And that's kind of why I asked you that question was if that was just their hope that, hey, you know what, like we're getting AJ and DeVonta back and everything's going to be better and we're just going to not turn the ball over. And now, everything's going to be hunky-dory offensively. I don't know if that's going to be a sustainable formula. Like, it's just that was the issue that this team had a year ago, was just the volatility of that pass game from a drop back standpoint. And right now, I think that's what it's going to continue to be unless they change what that identity is on the field.
I agree with you for the most part. I thought today was the exception because there were times when, just with the way the Browns defense plays, that you saw one safety high, right? A single safety high, tight man coverage. And I remember the slant to AJ. I see the field from the bird's eye view, and I'm like, this has to go to AJ right here, right? Like this is the matchup that you crave. So there are going to be weeks when you're going to have to out scheme the opponent. I think today was a day when you could just rely on your best players to make plays. It didn't result in a rout, but DeVonta Smith, AJ Brown both found the end zone. That's not a coincidence from my perspective.
Zach, we talked about a couple of defensive guys. The defense for the most part was really good today. That jumped off the page at us. Who jumped off the page to you? Who comes to mind?
Well, Cooper DeJean specifically, because I thought they used him creatively. He was an effective blitzer. Now I don't think the blitz pickup was probably what the Browns wanted there. And on a few of those cases, they were down to their third string running back. That could have had an effect on it. But you can see why Fran was so high on Cooper DeJean coming out of the draft. Like he was the physicality that now, when I say physicality, hey, there was a sack. He should have brought the guy down instead of just pushed him.
Sure.
He gets there, right? And I thought that I thought Cooper played decently. I thought CJ made a nice stop on the on that final drive. That was a key play there. Jalen Carter. I spoke to Jalen Carter after the game, and I thought he was really a force on the inside. And then Brandon Graham, one of the underrated plays in this game, and I got to go back and watch the replay, but before the missed field goal that the Browns had, there was the play when I think they bring Jameis Winston in, and it looks like they might go quarterback sneak, but instead it's an end around to Cedric Tillman, and Brandon Graham sniffs it out, pushes them back 5 yards. Then the field goal just misses, right? If he makes that field goal there, the tenor of the game is different, and Cleveland can operate differently late in the game as well, right? So, I thought Brandon Graham in the 200th game stood out there.
BG
but overall,
so good at specifically not getting sucked in on that stuff. It's like
he was calling it out before it even happened.
Why do you think that is, Vinny?
200
it's 200
games.
game?
Yeah.
Like
200 games.
You've seen it
Played a
all.
lot of football.
Crazy. Like we have run it at
But
anybody else. Go ahead.
Zach,
But really, I
think
thought
we got
this.
another chapter in the new book, the 200th game.
Yeah.
You know what? Brandon Graham book would be interesting. That's for sure. I would like that. He would have some stories.
Mhm.
But I thought Deshaun Watson was a big help for the Eagles too. Like I thought Deshaun Watson did not play well at all. Held on to the ball too long. There were 2 plays from the press box where I'm seeing I think of these offhand. Like I'm like Jerry Jeudy's wide open here, and Deshaun was just late seeing it. So I get it's easy for me to say that from the press box, but the numbers bear that out this season. I thought that and the fact that look, the Browns had a beat up offensive line, and the Eagles were able to take advantage of that at times.
We didn't get. You mentioned C.J. Gardner-Johnson. We haven't yet talked about the funniest play of the game when C.J. Gardner-Johnson breaks up the interception for Quinyon Mitchell.
Well, he was
tough to say don't go after the ball, but it was very funny.
Quinyon was not happy on that one.
He was not happy at all. You wanted to talk about Myles Garrett, Zach.
Yeah, so Lane Johnson brought up Myles Garrett like unsolicited. Just when I asked him some of the takeaways from the game, and he said Jordan played really well, and then they said Fred came in and did his job too, because he said Myles Garrett's the best pass rusher in the league. Lane said that, and said that he was so tough to stop. And then Nick Sirianni said that he hadn't seen Myles Garrett he hadn't played against Myles Garrett in person, maybe with the exception of 2020. You had to think about it. But he said they spent their whole week thinking about Myles Garrett, and he was just awesome. And I thought that there were times in that game when you could see the attention the Eagles were giving to Myles Garrett, because there's one play that jumps up. He lined up on the right, came all the way. Oh, I'm sorry. He lined up on the offensive left, his right, okay, and came all the way around, and Lane Johnson ended up blocking him. It was a 3rd down pass that went incomplete. But I remember saying, like, you have Lane Johnson for that reason there. Myles Garrett was just an absolute force. So that was one thing. Lane, I spoke to Lane a good amount, and he brought up Myles Garrett unsolicited, and the fact that he brought that up, I thought was noteworthy.
Well, speaking of that, what is your level of concern with the special teams at the moment?
Yeah, very. I mean, this is 3 big game-changing plays. This one, the Saints game with the block punt. And then and then last week, Cooper DeJean's fumble. And I don't think special teams is I think there's year-to-year variance, because a lot of those players obviously change, and there seems to be issues here. And I'm looking forward to speaking to Michael Clay this week about this. But look, the Eagles aren't good enough to give up cheap touchdowns like that, or to give up possessions like they did 2 weeks ago in Tampa. If you're this juggernaut, you say, all right, this isn't good, but maybe you can get away with it. Like, they're not good enough to lose on the margins, and they're losing on the margins on special teams. That's problematic. It's already come back to bite them this year, and it could come back to bite them in the future.
All right, Zach, what are you going to be writing about on allphly.com, and any other nuggets that you feel like are worth sharing?
Yeah, a few more nuggets.
Whether they are golden, funny, or relevant.
Yeah, so the kill shot play, I thought it was interesting. I asked DeVonta before, I spoke to Nick or Jalen. I asked DeVonta about it. I said that's a bold play, a bold decision. Like what are you thinking when that call's made? And DeVonta says if you don't have nuts in this game, maybe you shouldn't be in this game. And that was his answer.
Let those cards hang.
I thought that was a succinct way to put it. Nick said that they've talked about closing games. This is a big emphasis for them. They've lost games this year in 4-minute situations where they've given the ball back. And he said they were not going to give the ball back. They had the call and the check there that they wanted to. Like Jalen says, that's a read on the play. And you don't know going into it if that's what you're going to do. But then when the coverage presents itself, that's what you do. And it was a huge play, because look, if Cleveland gets the ball back there, I know they haven't played well this year, or this game this year, but I mean, you don't know if Deshaun Watson drives down and scores, and it's a 4-point game at that point, right? So the ability or the chance to close the game with the ball in your hands is huge. And I thought maybe the Dotson catch would end it, but that did not happen. Jamie asked me before the game about Nick Sirianni's haircut. So kind of a little background on that. I think that's Nick's summer haircut. Okay. And he got a picture in this week from the summer, from like something that he took over the summer, like a processing photo, and he liked the way he looked, so he said he'll go back to that. So that's the story behind the haircut. It's not like a motivational thing or anything like that. It was it's a summer cut, and he liked the way he looked. He decided to roll with it.
I mean, if we've questioned his judgment before, it might be even worse.
And then he explained why he had his
that's an I lost a bet haircut if I've ever seen one.
Ouch. I mean, I thought we're like a pro haircut show here, right? Like,
well, yeah, I asked you about it before in the press box, and you said, "Well, I don't really want to talk about haircuts." I said, "That's the first time I've ever heard that out of you." I was talking about haircuts more than you.
I compliment haircuts. I'm not ripping on haircuts. I mean, it's a subjective thing. It's an art. It's not a science. What's that?
I feel like as someone whose haircut has been denigrated relentlessly over the past couple months, that I at least have earned being able to do it to somebody else.
We don't need to relitigate that, but I definitely, what I said is that I hadn't had to worry about fades in the past because you don't have a fade. Now that we have Fran,
that's not.
I need to keep my fade game.
That's what you tried to
I said.
That's how you tried to defend.
The great thing about this is everything's on tape. We can go back and we can play the tape. So that Nick was explaining that he had his kids up there.
Vinny is like, what have I gotten myself into?
Nick explained that he had his kids up there because it was the way he was growing up, like he wants his kids to have these great memories. AJ Brown came to his son's baseball game. Jalen Hurts gave his son a jersey. Like he wants his kids to have this experience. So he was explaining that. And then you said what I'm writing about. I'm going to do this style that I've done the past 2 games, which is like a way of this format, which is a way of addressing like 4 or 5 different things. So it'll be about 2,000 words with probably like 300 to 500 on a number of different topics, and I'll find a way to make one topic flow into the next topic, so you can check that out. Right. And about what's that?
Nothing. Go ahead.
No. So all right. So the topics that I'll cover, I will cover Nick Sirianni. I will cover Nick Sirianni's decorum.
I'll put a couple words together, and those words will form a sentence, and from then I will then create another sentence.
I will cover the defense, his performance. I will cover that kill shot play. I will cover a lot of the topics that we talked about here with just some more insight from the locker room on it as I go through all my notes.
All right. Well, we look forward to reading it. Make sure that you are a diehard so that you can read it as well on allphly.com. And Zach, we will see you in studio tomorrow at 2:00 for the PHLY Eagles podcast.
Look forward to it. Thanks, guys.
All right, Zach.
See you, Zach. All right. How's everybody feeling?
A summer cut?
Yeah.
Are you buying it?
He saw the summer cut. Like, oh, you know what? I do like that. I'm going to bust it out.
If Mr. Sirianni's into it,
Yeah, I mean, that's the most important thing.
Of course.
That's a true audience of one.
Yeah.
So that's okay. But then just say that, I don't know.
Yeah. My wife really likes it shaved. So.
Yeah.
All right.
No more questions.
Moving on.
Yeah. There you go. All right, Vinny, how are you feeling after this game, knowing that a trip to the New York Giants at MetLife Stadium is coming up next week?
I was thinking about that the whole time Zach was talking, and I'm like, just thinking back to myself, this could be worse with a loss.
Yeah.
So the fact that we're talking like this with a W,
sure,
it feels good, but they have to go out and dominate the Giants. And the way Dexter Lawrence is playing over there,
he's unbelievable,
man.
Does that?
And if they might get, presumably Malik Neighbors back, right?
Yeah. Vinny, does that field actually suck to play on? Did you like it?
They redid it now. I haven't stepped foot on the
still
new
on the
one
new
yet.
version.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I'm still, you know, I think
But your son has, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Noah lit it up.
Noah's been cutting it up on that field.
Yeah.
Got a dub today or yesterday against the number 10 team in the country?
Today.
Yeah, waxed them.
Huge dub.
Let's go.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Danny Dimes. Nothing bad could happen, right?
He's playing pretty well right now. I mean, I haven't watched today, but coming into today, he's been playing well the last couple of weeks.
So where do we? If they are getting Malik Neighbors back for that game, I think it is a scary game for the Eagles.
Where do we think they rank in the NFC East? Just like because Dallas is losing right now.
Losing, right?
Yeah, they're down 17-3 to the Lions.
Okay.
Commanders battled against the Ravens today. I think they're a clear number one in the division.
I think they are right now the favorite.
I think this week we're fighting for number 2.
Yeah.
Spot.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Seems that way.
Like Dallas is probably last. The Commanders are first, and the Eagles and Giants are battling for number 2.
Wow.
Oof. Yikes.
We need a dominant performance.
Yeah, but that's the thing is that, I know that a win is a win. And you got to stack these W's. You see how it all lines up in January. But if ever there was a week where it looked like, okay, this is let's come out and have an impressive win against an offense that is not good at all. You had the week off to get everything together and buttoned up. You're getting AJ and DeVonta and Lane Johnson back, and you come out and you're like on the first 2 offensive drives, and you squeak by, and you need a tight 40-yard completion just to come through with a win. Like, it's not great. It's hard to have faith that they're going to be able to turn this thing around. But I don't want to just be negative. They won this game, with the Phillies having crashed out. The city needed a W. We should try to embrace the
Sixers had a little bit of a news dump, Joel Embiid update in like the 4th quarter there.
Yeah, that's brutal.
So it's good to get a W.
Yeah, but we got Mitch Goff playing.
But the reality, like looking broad view, like 30% of the season is now over with. There might not be 2 playoff teams coming out of the NFC East. The NFC North is loaded, and those teams are humming right now. So I bring it up because winning the division might be like imperative.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But I'll tell you what, though. Next week, I'm going to have my popcorn. Because if Malik Neighbors play, I want to see how you match up against Q.
Same.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Very good matchup.
That's a great point.
So
young steel on young steel. Go.
And it'll be DeJean, too, because they move him inside as well.
Yep.
Right.
So, yeah.
Cooper DeJean was a huge positive today.
Yes, he was.
He's something to feel good about. I mean, poor Avante, he was just kind of getting picked on a little bit there. I think a culmination of 6 years in a row of injuries probably caught up with him. But Cooper DeJean, I thought, brought some new life to that defense today. I think Uncle Vic might have a new blitzing toy there in young Cooper.
Fran, you will be grinding the film tomorrow. What are you most eager to look into?
I'm interested to see the back 7. I'm interested to see the back 7, see what they looked like. We could see kind of what the front looked like from a pass rush standpoint, but do we see improvements because it was so bad against Tampa in the back 7? So were they able to clean some of that stuff up? I will definitely write about the offense tomorrow, though, and just write about this past game. I do want to see what happened up front because, again, they just could not get anything going in the ground game. So, I would say that's probably the biggest thing I'm looking forward to, but it will definitely be offense tomorrow, defense on Tuesday, which you can check those pieces out on allphly.com.
Got to become a diehard. Make that happen. Vinny, any final thoughts from you?
Nah. I mean, they got a.
They got this guy who's over your shoulder, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah. I can't believe I'm even saying this. They got a real important game against the Giants.
It is a big one.
But it brings you back to your childhood.
Come on, man.
Who's your least favorite?
I remember we talked about Trent Cole. He used to always say, that was the team he hated the most, not the Cowboys.
Right.
Those Giants teams are the teams he hated the most. Unfortunately, for the Giants fans, it has been since Trent Cole's time that they have been relevant. So,
who was your least favorite growing up? Because you were obviously growing up as an Eagles fan. Who was your Dallas?
20-3, they're down now.
There you go.
So,
all right. Well, that'll do it for this episode of PHLY Eagles postgame show. We got a super chat in under the wire in time from Chase Daniel Plainview, who says, any chance Jalen asks Shane Bowen for advice ahead of the game? I appreciate the show. Obviously, a call back there to Jalen calling Wink Martindale last year.
After they played, though. Maybe this time it'll be Nick calling Shane Bowen, hoping to make a play call on defense. Could you ever imagine doing that? Like calling an opposing coach after you play them to talk through, like, hey, like, yeah, or just like, hey, like, how I handle the blitz.
Fairness, after the games, most our D lines sometimes see the offensive line coach or just like, hey man, what you saw, what I could have did better, because obviously they've been breaking you down for weeks.
Yep.
Trying to find every flaw in your game. So it's always
interesting.
Cool to know what they think about.
And would you give that, like, if there was a young O lineman who came to you and was like, "Hey man, what'd you see? How did you beat
100%.
me?" You'd be honest?
100%. That's not everyone. Let's not forget, when you come into a NFL locker room on Tuesday or Wednesday when they're doing the first day install, there's a breakdown of every player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
believe that.
Yep.
Over the last year or two, maybe 2 years,
right,
of what you do good, what you don't do good, what they're going to try you at. So it's up to you to, if something keep coming up, you got to fix it.
Well, it's like I got a chance to see Marissa before the game today. Michael Dunn is starting, and he's going up against Jalen Carter, and we were joking about how, like, don't make him angry. Like,
right.
Just be like, hey, Jalen, like, I'm a really big fan. Hope you have a great game. If anything, I think they're not using you well enough. Like, you'd be like really nice to the guy.
That's how.
So, like, what the conversation's like after the game.
Andrew Luck used to be, man, good job, man. Guys really pushing. He's just like, come on, man, stop talking to me. Like, and it's like we just keep doing that, man. It was just, I was just like, is he serious?
There's a funny mic'd up of him in game where every time he's getting tackled, he'd go, "Oh, nice hit, man. That was great."
How's everything at over there in Marshall and stuff like that? Like, what? Crazy.
How's the fam?
Bo, somebody in the chat wanted to know if Coach Clay will use Nick Sirianni's kids at his press conference on Tuesday to address that.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, they've got a lot to answer for. I do think the line that I've always said about the Eagles special teams is that you have to think about it the same way you think about the Eagles linebackers, in that the team just does not put resources into special teams. They're always the youngest unit in the league, the least experienced unit in the league. That doesn't explain why you're letting Myles Garrett jump over the guy, but
I will say it is 100% true that Nick Sirianni did call the field goal play, though.
That's true.
So he did call that for Michael Clay.
Yeah, that's true. What were you going to say, Vinny?
I said it just got like that, though. I mean, the Eagles are known to have good special teams.
Last year, they were number one in special teams DVOA. So, yeah, I mean, things change.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. I mean, come on, my man Clay got it done. He going to get it done.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes as the season goes on. All right, that'll do it finally for the PHLY Eagles postgame show. Thanks, everybody, for joining us live and listening after the fact. Thank you to Zach and Brenna for producing behind the scenes. Make sure you subscribe and all that good stuff. We are with you all week long at 2 p.m. starting tomorrow with Zach in studio, Fran in studio Tuesday, breaking down the film, Jamie and Rich on Wednesday, and on we go. The Eagles win 20-16, 3-2 with a game against the New York Giants on tap next week. We'll have you covered for that as well. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll talk to you later. And on behalf of all of us here and the good folks at Bet365, as always, we love you.
We all silly like the mayor.